We're going to be talking about meme coins, high risk meme coins, their potential to the upside as well as their downside risk. I do think there is a time and place for meme coins. Of course, also considering their risk as well. I'll tell you guys how I personally mitigate my risk when I am playing with these meme coins and trading these meme coins. We're also going to be talking about a few meme coins later in this video, which will be MOG Coin. See what has gone on since the last time I've talked about this. Nero ETH, which is Nero on ETH, and Book of Meme, BOME, and see what has gone on in these markets. What are some price targets and trading patterns I think you guys should be paying attention to? We're also going to be talking about some major crypto news, of course, that could affect the markets as well as Bitcoin, because even though Bitcoin is losing its dominance, that's not a subjective take. It is based on Bitcoin dominance. We have basically rolled over from 65% to right now it's about 61%, and why this is very good for the altcoins after the bull cycle starts, which has started, in my opinion, since last week, since Bitcoin broke above that 110K level. Of course, these are everything I'm saying here in this video is purely my opinions and speculations, and none of which is financial advice. You should definitely do your own due diligence before trading. Now let's take a look into some major crypto news here first before getting into the charts. Okay, if you guys want to skip over, it's going to be about the 10-minute mark where I usually talk about the altcoins, but I highly don't recommend it because I will also talk about Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin dips do not really affect altcoins as much anymore. It's still very important to be paying attention to Bitcoin. Okay. Now, this is by News BTC. Warning signs flash as Bitcoin miners unload at record pace. Let's get a little bit into detail of what this is. So it says Bitcoin's run above 120K has drawn fresh selling from the very people who dug it up. On July 15th, miners sent a hefty 16,000 Bitcoin to exchanges, the most in a single day since April, raising questions about how long the rally can keep climbing. Now, this definitely sounds like a more cautious tone, right? But I'm just gonna give you my take here. I think we're still very early in this bull cycle, and I'll tell you guys why. And the main reason why is because wait till we get to the Bitcoin charts here first. But the main reason why is because the monthly RSI, if you compare it to 2017, 2021 levels before the peak of their bull cycles, we're still pretty far from that. We're not really in FOMO levels just yet in the monthly RSI reading, and that is the indicator I've been paying attention to. That tells me if this market is overheated. Let's go up to the next piece here. News BTC. Bitcoin re-enters profit zone as greed rises, but rallies to 200K still possible. Yes, I do think a rally to 200K is still very possible for Bitcoin. Now, I read these news pieces with a critical tone because I don't believe everything anyone says, and I think neither should you guys. Always be critical. Always be, you know, form your own opinion, and I think you guys will do that as you guys continue trading and just gain your own experience, right? Then it's gonna be based on your own experience, then not someone else's opinion. I think that's probably the most important thing to develop if you guys want to actually trade in the long run. I plan to keep trading. I've been trading for 5+ years, and I plan to keep doing this in the long run. Okay. Altcoin season. Three signals investors should watch for. Analysts. So yeah, I think one of them is Bitcoin dominance retest 63%. Is this still even? It could be a bearish retest to 63%. Because right now it's already at 61%. We can talk about Bitcoin dominance for a second. When we talk about the charts, okay. But Bitcoin dominance is falling. Total 3 is breaking out. I talked about the breakout for Total 3, which is basically altcoin market cap excluding Ethereum, which is also a very important indicator to be paying attention to now because Bitcoin is losing its dominance and it has actually broke its previous all-time highs, marking the start of this bull cycle. All right, next piece here. Litecoin skyrockets by double digits. Bitcoin price stalls at 118K. Weekend watch. Yeah, I have some Litecoin. I am long on Litecoin. And I've seen its price just been surging over the weekend. Bitcoin stalling at 118K is not necessarily a bad thing, especially when Bitcoin dominance is going down and Total 3 is going up. Okay, that just tells me that probably traders are selling Bitcoin to buy altcoins. Okay. All right, next piece here is by Cointelegraph. XLM's price to skyrocket like XRP. Trump's big crypto nod. Hodlers digest July 13th to 19th. I mean, I've seen XLM surging like crazy already. Last time I checked was about 50 cents. Okay, I'm not sure where it is now. But we can do an update on XLM sometime soon. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot if I think a lot of these altcoins are going to be skyrocketing. Okay, based on my own experience back in 2021. Okay, I started back in 2019 and 2021 has been crazy. I think I've seen almost, if not all altcoins, at least the ones I've seen, okay, that I've been keeping a watch list on, have been all multiplied, okay. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these altcoins are gonna rocket, okay, not just XLM. Let's go to the charts here. Let's talk about monthly time frame for Bitcoin, like I promised earlier. This is going to be the macro indicator I'm going to be paying attention to gauge as this bull cycle goes on when this thing is about to come down. Because if you guys look at 2021, right, this is the March 2021 reading before it came all the way back down. I remember that crash, and this was 2017 when it gets to very overheated levels, especially when the RSI is above 90. Okay, something to be paying attention to because nothing lasts forever. Not bull cycles, not bear cycles. So, and then let's take a look into a smaller time frame here about this stall that we've been having at about 118K. In my opinion, this still looks very good. Because right now Bitcoin is breaking back above some of these shorter term moving averages, and on the daily time frame here, which is very important because now if Bitcoin was to dip, the next key level I'll be paying attention to is the daily 21 SMA, which is currently at about 113K.7, 113.7K. This is still a very important time frame right now. It tells me it's still bullish. Bitcoin's still bullish because we still have a very subtle higher low trajectory. And why are higher lows important? Because that's basically the shape of a uptrend. You're going to have higher highs and higher lows. If you start seeing lower highs and lower lows on that time frame, that's a downtrend. Okay, so daily time frame still looks good. Let's take a look into Bitcoin dominance here real quick, where I pointed out this chart. Basically right now it's crashing, right? Which is good because in this scenario, we see Bitcoin basically staying steady. However, altcoins like Ethereum and Total 3 is basically surging, okay? This is why Bitcoin dominance is falling in this case. And it's basically fallen below the daily 200 SMA. Weekly time frame is also very important to be paying attention to because we have a lower low here on this weekly time frame. That tells me that Bitcoin dominance is going to be on a downtrend trajectory, very likely giving way for altcoins to surge. Of course, that's given that Bitcoin does not dump, right? Because even though right now Bitcoin pullbacks have less of an effect on the altcoins, if it dumps, that's still very bad for the altcoins. Okay, so just something to be paying attention to. Okay, now I am long on altcoins across the board. I am long on Bitcoin, right? So my opinion on this market is still very bullish right now, and I'll tell you guys when I change my opinion. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment to this channel and get updates. Let's go ahead and go to total 3 just real quick. I pointed out this breakout here, something to be paying attention to um, when Bitcoin starts its bull cycle. Okay, I pointed out this. Okay, daily time frame, total 3, very important. This tells me that altcoins are ready to take off. This is a cup and handle pattern. It broke out about July 16th. Price target for this pattern is going to be about 1.17 trillion. Let's zoom out here to the weekly time frame, right? So if it hits 117 trillion, that's basically the previous resistance here. That could be forming some type of a cup and handle if it doesn't get crazy already. I've seen altcoins get really crazy during these bull cycles. Okay, so 1.17 trillion is going to be the next resistance for altcoins. Let's take a look into Mogcoin here real quick. Okay, that's going to be some of these meme coin setups. That's going to be very fun to trade. Of course, they're very risky as well, especially the ones that rank, below ranking 200, right, with lower market caps. So you guys just got to know what you're paying attention to. How I mitigate my risk when trading altcoins is, first of all, I don't allocate a lot of my portfolio into trading altcoins. I mean, meme coins, okay? Or altcoins in general, okay? I diversify my positions so I don't have a heavy position into any specific markets because I've seen what could happen. Coins could get delisted, right? Then shit, you're just out of luck. I've seen a couple of delists just from last year to this year, and if I have a lot of my funds in that certain position and it gets delisted, then I mean, that's terrible. That's devastating. That's why I diversify my funds into many different positions. And for meme coins, it's going to be a small part of my portfolio. Okay, that's how I mitigate risk on one end. Another two pieces of information or ideas that I mitigate my risk is I buy on the reversal, right? So on the lower ends, before the coin actually takes off and pumps, right? Because the name of the game is still to buy low and sell high, right? So it doesn't really make sense to chase green candles when it's likely making a higher high, right? I mean, I try not to chase green candles. Generally, I don't, right? There's going to be specific situations where I just have that a little bit of capital to play with, and if things look really good in that situation. But generally, I don't chase green candles, and I look for reversal patterns before they pump to enter. That's another way of mitigating risk. Another way, of course, it's gonna be obvious, but it's also very hard to do, which is to take profits, have plans to take profits, because once you take profits, um, you're basically taking your money off the table, right, and mitigating risk that way, right? And at the end of the day, it's about profits, right? How much you have actually made in the markets. And if you actually take the money off the markets, especially while it's pumping before it dumps, then in my opinion, you're basically mitigating your risk and by having less money in the markets when it's getting higher. Okay. before it comes back down. So those are some of the ways I mitigate my risk when I'm trading these higher risk positions. All right, let's go ahead and talk about MOG Coin here. Okay, this is a falling wedge pattern, which is a reversal pattern. Okay, it broke out quite some time ago, back in April. Okay, price target was about 0.00, about 5 zeros and 24. Okay, 5 zeros and 24. And Mogcoin has broken out and has formed a smaller falling wedge pattern. Falling wedge patterns are usually bullish patterns. Okay, now these price targets are estimates only. It is based on technical analysis. There could be more, there could be less. Always got to consider the downside risk because they could also flop as well, even after they break out. Um, so formed a smaller falling wedge pattern, which also broke out of. Okay, price target was about 1.7, a bunch of zeros and 1.7. Mogcoin smashed that price target, went up to about 5 zeros and 2. Okay, and then formed another smaller falling wedge pattern here. Okay, on the 4-hour time frame, and the price target for this smaller falling wedge pattern would be 5 zeros. I think that's 5 zeros and 21. So smaller target for this smaller time frame, of course. All right. So what would happen if? What do I do if MOG Coin actually goes to its price target? What I would do is if it consolidates at that price level, I would chart the consolidation pattern and see if it will continue going. It's more likely to continue going up, or will it be likely to pull back from there? Okay. If it actually beats, this price target here about 5 zeros and 24, what could happen is that if it continues forming this rounded bottom pattern on this, as you know, it's pretty noticeable on this weekly time frame, it could come back up to this previous all-time high here and retest that and form a cup and handle pattern. Now, this is hypothetical; it hasn't happened. That is also given that if this rounded bottom continues. All right, next piece here is going to be by Nero. It's going to be on Nero ETH. Okay, it's already getting pretty close back to its previous all-time highs, right at about 30 cents. Now, I talked about Nero ETH here. It broke out of this falling wedge pattern. Like I said, a very common pattern you should definitely be paying attention to start charting, right? Price target was about 12.7 cents before before the price action actually went up there, basically to the T, before getting rejected, all the way back down to just below 6 cents there, and now it's basically going all the way back up to about almost 19 cents. What could be happening here is that I'm seeing a falling wedge pattern again on this 4-hour time frame. It broke out not too long ago, retested that upper trend line. This breakout still valid. Okay, price target out of this breakout here will be about 21 cents for Nero ETH. All right, so if it actually gets to that 21 cents level, something to be watching out for is to see if this rounded bottom on this weekly time frame still holds. If it does, it's probably going to go up to about that 30 cents level. Always got to consider the downside risk, because if these rounded bottoms don't hold, then, we could be looking at something else. Let's take a look into Book of Meme real quick. We're running low on time. This falling wedge pattern, Book of Meme has not broken out of this pattern yet. Still kind of in the midsection of that pattern. If it actually breaks out, I adjusted this measure target towards this breakout point. Just an estimate, okay? It doesn't have to be breaking up at that point. But if it does, then Book of Meme has a price target of about 1.6 cents. Like I said, price targets are estimates only, and these could still break down, okay? Even though falling wedges tend to break to the upside, they can still break down. Got to consider the downside risk. Now, this basically wraps it up for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you want to continue getting updates.